In this week's Coffee with the Candidates, I chat with gubernatorial candidate John Schroder over a cup of coffee at Frank's restaurant about key voter issues from crime to climate change and his plan to move the state forward. John Schroder is a Republican running for the Louisiana governor's office. He's finishing up his second term as the state treasurer, and prior to that post, he served for 9.5 years in the Louisiana House of Representatives. He lives in St. Tammany Parish. Well, John, thank you so much for joining me here at Frank's restaurant. Before we get started, how about a fresh cup of coffee?
Absolutely.
All right. You probably need it out there on the campaign trail. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so for our viewers, here's how Coffee with the Candidates go. Each of our candidates receives the same 5 questions ahead of time. Each of our candidates has 7 minutes to answer the 5 questions. I will be keeping time, and I'll also help the candidates stay on track within that 7 allotted minutes. So before we get started, we'll take a sip.
Yeah. Hot coffee. 103 outside.
Perfect. All right, and we're going to press start. And question number 1. With Louisiana currently experiencing an insurance crisis as auto, property, and flood insurance rates continue to rise and some insurance companies quit writing policies here altogether, how will you address the affordability and the accessibility of insurance for Louisianians?
Well, I think right out the gate, we're going to call a special session. And we're going to bring the people to the table who are involved in the industry, from medical to legal to the insurance folks themselves, and deal with it. But it's going to be something we get on in the first 30 days. So if the legislators think that they only have to do it one session a year, I got news for them. It's going to be a whirlwind, because we have insurance problems, we have crime problems and other things, but we're going to deal with it head on. We're going to jump right out the box, and we had our commissioner who we already know, right? But it's going to take all hands on deck to address it, because look, we're not going to stop storms, right? And we're not going to stop flooding. We can try to mitigate it as much as we can. So we have to get all hands on deck and deal with it.
All right. With the state's temporary 0.45 sales tax set to expire in mid-2025, declining gas taxes people pay at the pump, and other changing circumstances affecting our tax structure, some say Louisiana is headed toward a fiscal cliff. What is your plan to create a sustainable tax base and a competitive tax environment? Well,
look, it all starts with jobs, real jobs, people going to work every day. I don't know. Look, I'm the state treasurer. I can't sit here and tell you we're going to have a fiscal cliff. I don't think anybody knows that. Nobody would have predicted we would have had surplus after surplus after surplus the last 4, 5, 6 years. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're going to have to deal with a fiscal cliff. We don't know that, you know. But I will tell you, at the end of the day, we have 4.6 million people who live in this state, 2 million on Medicaid, almost 900,000 on Medicare. The answer to all our ill wills is jobs and build our economy. But it starts with the people and the jobs you have here right now, currently. It's hard to go recruit new business if you don't take care of the business you have. Over 52% of our jobs are small businesses in the state. So we need to make sure that we're running on all cylinders for what we have now before we start going out and recruit new business. But it's about jobs.
Louisiana has some of the highest incarceration and recidivism rates in the nation. How are you going to lower crime and improve public safety?
Well, look, mental health is a huge problem in this state, and it's been neglected. That's just, it is what it is. And we're going to have to make it a priority, and we're going to have to make several things our priority. And mental health, we're filling up our jails with people who have mental health problems, and that's not the best place for them to be. We have to come up with a new and a different model, because you just can't stick people who are mentally ill in prisons and expect them to come out healed. It doesn't happen. So I think we also need to figure out, how do we educate those that are in prison, so when they get out, they're able to go get a job. Look, we have a lot of jobs available right now, and you don't necessarily have to have a great education to do that. You just have to have a skill, something that you can go to work and do every day. And those skilled jobs are out there. So we have to be aggressive and try to train the population of people that are in our prisons and better equip them to go out in our society and participate versus being in a life of crime.
Recent studies show that sea levels are rising faster than we can rebuild the coast, a consequence of climate change. Renewable energy sources such as wind and water and solar power could help combat climate change. What is your stance on developing renewable energy sources in Louisiana?
Look, I'm in any industry that's good for the public, for the people of Louisiana, I support. But I'm a big oil and gas guy. I don't necessarily agree with your question. But you know what? If wind is good for the public, then I like it. But I don't want to do it at the risk or you're kicking oil and gas to the curb. Half this world doesn't have electricity, so I think we're a long way from affordability. But whatever brings affordable energy to the citizens of Louisiana, I'll support that.
Very good. Statistics show that young people are moving out of Louisiana for better educational and business opportunities and quality of life. How do you intend to stop this so-called brain drain and make Louisiana more attractive for younger generations?
Yeah, it's not just a brain drain, it's a people drain. We've lost a couple, 30,000 people a year over the last couple of years. So it's not just a brain drain, it's a people drain, it's a resource drain, because it's not those that are leaving, typically are those that have jobs, have families, and they have the means to move, so they do. So we have to create an atmosphere or communities that people want to stay and live in Louisiana. It means we have to lower crime, we have to better educate, we have to have first-class public school systems. And look, I think one of the biggest problems that we face in this state is the cronyism and corruption and the pay-to-play politics that's destroyed the reputation of this state. You got to have a zero tolerance for it, because if you can't keep people here, how are you going to get people to come? So you first have to work on what we have. Same thing when we want to build this economy. You can't build it on the backs of companies and people to move here when you're losing businesses and you're losing people here in our own state.
Very well, and that is time. You finished your 5 questions in 6 minutes, 23 seconds. Well done, very concise. All right, John, before we go, one last question. Biscuits or beignets?
Oh, that's tough. Can I say both?
You can say both, that's your prerogative.
Although I love beignets, I'm from New Orleans, but I love me some biscuits too, so I'm going with both.
All right, there you go, serve them up.
All right.
I hope you're hungry.
Oh man, this is awesome. Absolutely.
This program is made possible in part by Frank's Restaurant, a place known for the gathering of friends, family, and colleagues, where deals are signed over a handshake and a biscuit. For information on catering, menus, and locations, go to franksrestaurantla.com.